into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey there, Transformer fans! Welcome to another edition of the Transformers Robots in Disguise After Show here on AFTERBUZZ TV. How are we all feeling tonight, ladies?
So good!
So good! A lot of good, fun stuff to talk about tonight. Joining me on the panel tonight, Alexis the Wrecker Torres.
Hey everybody, you can, can't find my camera. You can find me on all the interwebs as A Torres 890. What up?
Emma the Speedster Fyffe.
Hello, you can find me on all social media platforms at Emma Fyffe. That's my name.
Unfortunately, Katie Kia Prime Cullen is in the realm of primes this episode. She's not with us today. She will be back soon, but until that time, I am your host, Megan Megatron Salinas.
Very nice.
If you guys haven't already done so, please subscribe to us on YouTube and iTunes, SoundCloud, all that fun stuff. Rate, leave a comment. We love hearing from you guys. And later on this episode, we will actually be giving a lot of iTunes shout-outs. Yeah, and if you haven't already, and we will also be keeping an eye on the hashtag ABTVRID. And there's a live chat going on since we are streaming live on YouTube. Emma's got that covered.
I do. Hi, everybody in the live chat.
Fantastic. So we have a couple things to talk about also before we get started. First and foremost should probably be, you guys are probably wondering about our contest from last week, where you would win this lovely Optimus Prime action figure, which we received so graciously from our wonderful guests last week. They were so sweet to give us toys.
Was so cool. It's like your guests show up and they have presents for you?
Yeah, Eric, Mitch, and Roger, they gave us toys, and it was just really, really touching. So we thought we would extend the courtesy. However, you guys did not follow instructions.
Yes.
Part of the instructions were to actually leave a comment on iTunes and to leave your Twitter handle in your comment on iTunes. So we are going to extend the contest by another week. Guys, please leave your Twitter handles in the review.
Also, if you already left your review, you can't go in and edit your iTunes review. So just tweet at us, tweet at any of us, use that hashtag ABTVRID, and let us know which iTunes comment is yours. Just tell us, hey, I have an iTunes comment. It's under this name. One listener already did that. So thank you so much to you.
Yes, so don't worry if you've already left a comment. There are ways to get around it.
We also decided that it would not be appropriate for Lord Megatron to give away Optimus.
I don't believe we discussed that. I believe that part of the discussion
that might have been a private chat conversation between myself and Arif.
I don't appreciate that, guys. I find that a little hurtful. I don't know if you remember, but Megatron, he's been through some stuff. It's a little hurtful that you say that. Anyway, there's another order of business that we have before we get started with this week's episode. Was last week a Decepticon got away?
He did, yeah.
Fracture.
Yeah, that's right.
Fracture.
Bumblebee 137. We're not going to forget about Fracture's nickname.
So we're going to start. Do the minicons do they need nicknames too, or should we just prescribe it to Fracture?
I don't. It was all about like equality between bots and minicons in the last episode.
So I guess it wouldn't really be fair, but I don't have a nickname picked out for Air Razor and Dive Bomb. I will throw one out for Fracture though, and what we'll do, guys, is we will give our suggestions, and then at the end of the show we'll pick one. And please feel free in the live chat and the hashtag to offer your suggestions as well, because we are very much open to your guys' input. I'm going to throw one out there. Spike. I liked his little spiky mohawk. That's what I like.
I wrote down that last week Roz Mystica 01 wanted him to be Starscream Jr.
I actually wanted to name him that too. Actually, I was like, look at that.
Look, Alexis sees your point, Roz Mystica 01.
Is that your vote, Alexis?
Sure, that'll be my vote for sure.
Super. So guys, keep tweeting out your suggestions or leave them in the comments. Remember, you can always use that hashtag if you want them to end up on Twitter. Hashtag ABTVRID.
Do you have any thoughts?
I don't.
Oh my gosh, guys, Roz and I have the same brain.
3 amigos.
Yes, 3 amigos. I'm so glad she read that.
That's fantastic.
3 amigos.
Okay, guys.
Except, okay, wait. I'm gonna throw this one out there. 3 ninjas.
Oh God, I forgot about that movie. Oh my gosh, I'm totally fine with that.
They were kind of ninjas.
Yeah.
Wow,
they kinda were.
wow, Spike feels really dumb now. Okay, we have 2 great suggestions and 1 really sad one. So be sure to let us know what you guys like best. If you guys have any other suggestions, let us know. Let's go ahead and get down to the nitty-gritty of this episode after 1 more announcement. I promise this is the last one. We love hearing from you, so keep sending us your tweets and comments. We do read every single one of them, and don't miss the chance to take our very important listener survey at podcast1.com. Your responses will help us make the show the very best that it can be. It'll only take about 3 minutes of your time, and you'll get instant gratification that comes with knowing you helped us out. You can tell us how you really feel about the show. Please be nice. And help us get to know you better. Do it now. Take the survey at podcast1.com. That's podcast1.com. And keep those tweets and comments coming. So, and if you guys have any trouble finding the survey, because I've had a couple people tweet at me that they can't find it.
Yeah, I have too.
I have a direct link to it, so if you guys can't find it, let me know. I will send it to you. Because I did that too. I went to podcast1.com and I couldn't find it.
My poor roommate was like, I went to the AFTERBUZZ ones. I wanted to check off all the shows you did, and I couldn't find them.
No, right? So yeah, just be sure to let us know. All right, let's get into this episode, Out of Focus. So
Woohoo.
all in all, initial thoughts about this week's episode.
You know, I think that this episode had a really good idea that didn't quite pay off for me. I really liked the parallel stories
was
between
great.
Optimus and Bumblebee. However, I think they kind of missed the mark on the parallel with Bee. I think Optimus's story was very clear, and I loved the revelation at the end, and it was wonderful. And there were parts of Bee's storyline that I liked, but ultimately I was like, I feel like that's a little bit of a stretch.
For me, I agree with you. I like the parallelism. It was so nice to see Optimus again. And
I know.
And I will forgive a lot just having Optimus back
Right.
in the show. I have to say, though, there were a few things I was questioning. Just the fact that we have him back, because we get a little glimpse into what's been going on with him. So I had a lot of questions about this one, and I'm not gonna lie, I read the 2 sentence synopsis for this on the wiki before I got started, and I rolled my eyes a little bit because I don't like skunk episodes. It's not that I'm not knocking the episode at all, guys. I am not. I used to go camping a lot as a kid. Skunks were a legitimate concern. And I'm not gonna lie, because I watched a lot of cartoons where they did skunk episodes, it made me irrationally afraid that I was gonna get sprayed by a skunk while I was out camping.
Well, it also doesn't help that the fact that these skunks can blind and deafen you. Like, what?
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
No, I thought that was such an interesting power that they had, by the way, because that's not, I mean, with a skunk, you expect it to be smelly and terrible, but
Yeah.
I mean,
But when you have them as Decepticons, they have to pack a little bit more of a punch.
Yeah.
And I will say that I kind of, in a weird way, I kind of like these guys, not because they had the opportunity, and I don't know quite what their motivation is, if it's more because they're petty criminals and not straight up murderers.
I wasn't totally clear on what they were about.
They seem to be robbers. So let's talk about them a little bit. The Skunkticons.
Skunkticons.
Led by Malodor, which...
Yeah. It comes from the French malodeur, or I said that really strangely, but that's almost right in French, which means bad smell.
Boo. Or just malodor.
I thought it was clever, guys, okay?
Thank you, Alexis. Thank you for supporting me in
You're
my
welcome.
anti-pun campaign.
I've been using it way more than I need to.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We Decepticons, we got to stick together. But they intrigue me because, first of all, they're a group, and it's not like they're a set of combiners who need to stay together, and it's not like a mini-con regular Transformer relationship. They are just kind of a group, which made me wonder if they were a family.
Yeah.
Because they were all kind of,
Skunkticons.
This is so hard to say.
And they all were twins. Like, you could not tell them apart
Yeah.
at all.
So I was, first of all, I wondered if they were a family. And second of all, they had several opportunities to not only kill our heroes, but to permanently damage them.
Yeah, I was confused as to why they kept leaving. Like, they would blind them and make them deaf, and then they just peace out.
And that's what intrigued me. I was like, that's very interesting. These are not cold-blooded killers.
Yeah.
Because, like...
Fair.
And it's interesting because, they are prisoners. They robbed a lot of places.
Yeah.
That was their thing. They would go in, stun the people, and as a distraction, and then go in and rob the place. And, which, again, makes me wonder, what on earth does Cybertron use as currency? I don't know. I assume Energon.
I would think maybe.
I really don't know. How much is the conversion rate between a Cybertronian
dollar and an American
US dollar? But
don't even get me started on Australian dollars and Canadian dollars and euros. It's just a whole thing.
It's all over the place. But I do find them interesting, which I wasn't expecting to do, given that it's a skunk episode.
Given your deep childhood aversion to skunks.
But yeah, so I liked these guys more than I thought I would, which says a lot, I think, about the writing for this show.
Yeah, I really enjoyed these guys as enemies because it's like we were saying earlier, like I found it very fascinating that they had these powers, but it makes me wonder if actually beyond their like spray capabilities, are they lacking in other offensive capabilities?
Yeah,
you know
that's
what
like
I mean.
their one big thing, and then because they're not very fast.
No, they're not very fast.
And that was kind of the big thing, was our heroes actually got to the hideout before they did, and they're like, "How did we beat you?"
Yeah.
And it's kind of adorable. So that's probably their one line of defense, is this ability. But yeah, it's like I said, I'm just very intrigued by it. But one thing that kind of sticks out is I remember hearing, I don't remember if it was Adam who said it, but I know that one of the writers for the show has said that the bad guys on the show don't necessarily think of themselves as bad guys.
Yeah, I think it was Adam that said that. And that is something that I do believe rings true in this show. It's one of the things I think is really interesting about these animal-based Decepticons is it's not really that they're bad, with the exception of maybe Hungry Like the Wolf.
Well, even I don't even think he thinks of it that way. I think he's just thinking of it like, hey, guys, we need to make a home for ourselves.
Yeah.
And these guys are standing in the way.
Totally.
I think the only one that I can definitely say is probably more nefarious is Fracture and Uncle PJ.
Yeah.
Because Uncle PJ was leading a smuggling ring, and Fracture is a bounty hunter who he doesn't care about civilian casualties.
Yeah.
So I think that's those are the two most nefarious to me, anyway.
Yeah, I would agree with that, because overall I think what we're looking at is something I think they do really well with the Decepticons in this series is that a lot of them come from these very insecure human places.
Yeah.
You know, like
They got picked on.
Yeah, they got picked on, or they're just crazy and trying to impress their boss. Like, I don't know.
They had a job to do.
Yeah,
and they take pride in their work.
Exactly.
But yeah, so these guys intrigue me. So they did not get away. So
They did not.
They don't get a nickname.
Yeah.
At the end
Because
of the-
in the calm of the storm, B formulated a plan.
yes, the center of the storm is the most still. So yeah, let's talk about our Autobots this time around. For this, because there are two very distinct storylines this time around. There's B trying to herd human felines. Which
I know. I wrote that down. That was his exact
I felt
quote.
so bad that Katie wasn't here today because there were two really great cat jokes in this week's episode. And I'm like, and Katie says herding cats all the time.
Yeah, she does.
I feel like she's done it on this panel a few
She
times.
does.
She has.
I was really excited when the exact words out of Bee's mouth were, it's like herding domesticated earth felines.
And I was just like, oh, Katie would have loved that. I feel so
She did
bad.
love it. She's just not here to talk about it.
I'm sure she will express her joy next time she's here.
Yes.
But anyway, so the whole storyline this time around is that essentially Bee's team they're easily distracted. They
Yes.
are children.
Yeah, they are.
Grimm is easily distracted
Yep.
by all sorts of things, his desire to punch things.
Yeah.
And Sideswipe and Strongarm are bickering like brother and sister.
Yeah.
What else is new?
Yeah, that's actually something that Omega Buck 01 brought up in the chat. He or she, I don't know which you are, says, what is up with the disharmony among Bee's team? They act like they've never learned anything from the previous episodes, which is something we talked about a little bit last week when we had Roger and Mitchell and Eric in here, was the fact that this show is extremely episodic. So it feels like we're starting at ground zero again quite frequently. However, in this episode, much as at the beginning of the episode, my reaction was, here we go again with the fighting.
Yeah, I'm just like, not to be like negative Nancy or anything like that. I'm just kind of sick of it. Like, I feel like Bee, especially when Sideswipe was like, we've been in so many missions. I'm like, yeah, but you guys still haven't gotten
You
your
act
act
like
together.
babies.
Yeah. And it's really frustrating.
However, that being said, I didn't mind Sideswipe's comment of, we've been on a bunch of missions already, because that to me sort of was a throwback to the last episode where Russell was basically saying, hey, Dad, you gotta trust in me. And the minicons
Yeah,
were
totally.
like, hey, big bots, you gotta trust us. And ultimately, in this episode, we did get to see Bee be more of a leader, which I really enjoyed. Like, when Bee was laying the smack down,
Also,
I was into it.
Yeah, and I also liked his thought process of like, okay, the skunks don't move that fast, so I have time for that.
Yeah,
That has a
exactly.
countdown. I can do that. They're gonna fall out a window. Let me concentrate. I'm like, that's how it shows that he's a leader, is because he can prioritize correctly and how to get everything done. And I was
Exactly.
like, this is why he's a leader.
It's
Listen to
all
him,
about
dang
this
it.
time management, guys.
Yes,
It's all about
exactly.
your ability to work well and manage your time under pressure.
Exactly.
And guys, Omega Buck 01 is a boy. I have confirmed.
Thank you, Omega Buck. You're awesome.
We also have some people on the live chat, or on the hashtag, so thank you guys for participating. But anyway, I will say, to this episode's credit, at least the vibe I've been getting from Sideswipe and Strongarm is more of a brother-sister thing.
Yes.
Right.
And in all honesty, and it doesn't matter how many times you teach the lesson or lecture them, brothers and sisters will fight.
Of course.
And
Accurate.
Yeah, usually about the same stupid stuff over
Yeah.
and over again.
Yep.
So I hear you guys. I definitely roll my eyes whenever we get into like this little slap fight territory that they
Yeah.
always seem to get into. But to their credit, that is how a brother-sister relationship works.
Yeah.
However, I know that Mitchell was saying that he didn't necessarily get a brother-sister vibe from them, that it was more like
Sexual tension. And it's because of Mitchell that I can't think of anything else, and now I ship them, and it's weird.
It's weird because to me they act like brother and sister.
I mean, I have to say that I think that same episode when he first got onto our after show, I think I agreed with him at one point.
Yeah.
And I am definitely on the Megantron train at this
The
point, where
Megantron.
it's very much a brother-sister relationship. At the same time, I know people, especially in the past, who have acted like that, and then they're like married with kids now. So it's tough.
I'm just
we
saying,
could
it could
be
happen.
we
It could
could
happen.
very well be heading in that direction, but like I feel like if we're gonna head in that direction, the dynamic of their arguments
Yeah, it
needs to
needs
be
to change.
changing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
completely.
agree. No, I agree. I really do think of them as brother and sister, but like Mitchell just put it in my head and I can't get it out.
I mean, red and blue, they go together. It
They
works.
do
They
go
do
together.
go together.
At least they're not versing each other. Did it?
Yep. and can we talk a little bit about Grimlock in this episode?
I
Because
loved
he was
him
Oh,
so
man.
sweet.
I felt so bad for him.
I just loved that every time he got hit with the skunk spray and he fell over, he's just like flailing around. Am I walking towards you? B! Am I walking towards the side of you, boys?
I love how he was He's just like, come to me, B, sideswipe. I'm over here. Follow the sound of my voice.
Like they can't hear him.
I know. It was so loud.
This is something I thought was really clever, was the fact that when he got dragged off
his tail?
Yeah, that his tail left that.
Now here's the question: did he
trail
do
on
that
the ground.
intentionally?
No, he didn't do it
No.
intentionally.
And I did love that B was like, he left a trail for us. It's like that was not intentional.
But I like that they addressed it, because I
Yeah.
noticed it in the animation. I was like, oh, that's really clever, and then they called it out, so I really enjoyed
I
that.
will say I'm a little confused as to why they chose the biggest and most dangerous among them.
They said it was so B and friends would know that they meant business.
I think the idea was like, oh no, they took out Grimlock. These guys, we can't handle them. You know, if they took out the biggest and the strongest of us, there's no way we can take them. That was a fallacy, I think, on their part. I think it didn't matter who you kidnapped, they were going to follow you.
Yes.
That's just
Sorry,
me, though.
I just have to call something out, because this is back with our conversation about the relationship between Sideswipe and Strongarm. Allie in the chat, Allie Surete? I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, Allie. You're lovely. You're here every week. But she says, I ship Grimby so much, man.
Really?
Thank you, Allie. That made me laugh. I love it.
And we're talking about like ships, breakdown, and knockout. I felt
my
so
gosh.
bad
I
about how
know.
that turned out.
Yeah.
Aw, it's sad. Anywho,
Yeah.
moving on. So like the whole point with this episode was like among the chaos, learning how to figure out and prioritize things, and then move forward in the correct way and be an effective leader. So that was, I think, the long and short of both stories.
I liked that too. And I really liked, I mentioned this a little bit earlier when I was talking about how I liked that B got to be a little bit more of a leader in this episode. I like that once he committed to it and he was still getting pushback occasionally.
Yes.
He's like, because I can't remember, I wrote down at some point, oh, B just busted out the dad voice.
Yeah,
that was
because
so great.
Sideswipe still kept like, because he once the locks were taken care of,
Right.
and like the poison had worn off on all three of them, when they were about to fall out the window. Once all of that had been resolved, he's like, I know the schematics. We're gonna take this pipe that's parallel to them and essentially cut them off at the pass. And he's still, and Sideswipe is still making really snarky, stupid comments that don't make any sense. It's like, what is wrong with you? And B is straight up like, guys, focus.
Yeah.
And then it's like, sorry, sorry, Dad. I mean, Bumblebee.
I loved it. B was really getting it together in this episode.
I did really appreciate that, because we know he's a good leader. We
Of course
know
he
that
is.
we know what kind of greatness he is capable of, and it was nice to see his team actually finally respect him a little bit.
I agree. Right.
But he had to stop palling around with them and being a goofball, which is more his style, and he had to put his foot down a little bit.
Yeah, he hasn't had to be in the authoritative, get everybody together kind of role before.
And what was great is that he was able to have inspiration from Optimus and from Optimus's words without trying to be Optimus.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that was something I really liked about this episode, was seeing that parallel Optimus storyline, even though ultimately I think the Optimus storyline was a lot clearer and stronger. I liked that we kept going back and forth between him and B, because we were seeing where B was drawing the inspiration from Optimus, but still being himself.
Exactly. It's taking the words to heart, but still being true to yourself.
Exactly. I also really liked how dark Optimus' storyline got.
Yeah, me too.
Since that essentially wraps it up for B's storyline.
So we're gonna talk about Goku.
Well,
I wrote down, meanwhile in Prime Land.
Exactly. That was the first thing I thought of. I was like, what is Goku training with Optimus? Like, what's happening right now? Where's your halo? Where's your halo?
Optimus went to King Kai's planet.
King
and,
Kai.
Yes.
And is training in the afterlife.
Yeah.
Before we get on to Optimus' storyline, which is really the meat of the episode,
Yeah,
I
I
think.
agree.
Because B's storyline was a little bit more comedic with Grimlock
Agree.
and everybody
Completely agree.
stumbling around. I think we
Grimlock.
should
He's my
probably do
favorite.
some iTunes shout-outs before we move on.
Yeah, awesome. So, thank you to everybody who left us new reviews on our iTunes page. We really appreciate it. Foxgrad writes, I'm so happy you guys are doing this podcast. You bring a lot of heart and personality to the discussion, and I appreciate that you keep things relatively clean. I am really happy to find out that Transformers has so many female fans, and I appreciate how knowledgeable you are about the franchise as a whole. It breaks my heart that you guys weren't doing a podcast like this back when Transformers Prime was airing. Actually, that's an idea. Is there any chance you could do a Transformers Prime version of this podcast during the off season? I know it's a huge imposition to ask something like this, but I think you guys would honestly just have so much fun, if not more, making a podcast for Transformers Prime. Best wishes to you all, and here's hoping the show gets better and better. Yay!
Which it is. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and we would love to do a Transformers Prime podcast. Please tweet at AFTERBUZZTV.com. Tell them that you want a Transformers Prime podcast.
And specifically that you want us.
Us. Yeah. At the Mangoid, at A Torres 890, at Emma Fyffe, and at Kia Shay.
Because sometimes these things are out of our hands.
Exactly. The next review we have is entitled The Best Transformers Podcast. It's by Reflex123. It's all fun with this group. You feel the love, you feel the respect, you feel the absolute joy in exploring both past Transformers as well as the current show. This is a group that I would love to chat with in person. The guests also seem to catch the vibe of the hosts and engage in the best ways. This podcast has it. Good to listen to, but best to watch on YouTube for all the silliness.
That's true. That's true. I definitely, if you guys are listening to the podcast, we love that you're listening to us on iTunes, but we really do appreciate the people who go to YouTube to see this nonsense, because there's a lot of it.
And it's super fun to chat with you guys in our chat roll here. Even if we can't always keep up with it, we're trying our best, and we do see that you're watching, and we really appreciate it. And then one more iTunes shout out. This one is entitled Great Content. It's by Pyrotech Nick. I started watching ABTV last summer when you guys were doing Ruby, and now here is another show that I am beginning to love. I haven't watched any of the Transformers series since watching Transformers Cybertron, and because of you guys, I have begun Prime. Once more, ABTV RID is a great and spectacular podcast that is very well connected to the fan base.
Oh, first of all, Transformers Cybertron, I'm sorry.
I was going to say.
I am so sorry. Even I won't watch that.
Nope. Honey Bunches and nope.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Go back and watch. First of all, watch animated, because animated, though also episodic and a little redundant, is very good.
Yeah.
And then go to Prime, because everything that you like about Transformers is in Prime.
Absolutely.
And it is just done spectacularly.
And if you're not watching Rescue Bots, you should be.
True story. We also have a couple people in the hashtag that I do want to shout out.
Woo!
EC on the hashtag on Twitter. You are great. And then we have at ultra_master, which he's left a few comments, but the one I feel like I need to defend my honor is you saying your Megatron is an insult to Megatron and me.
Oh!
Whoa! Shots be fired.
Whoa.
Be
Yikes.
careful what you say, sir. You do not want to get on Lord Megatron's
No,
bad
no, you
side.
don't. Nope, don't do it. Don't do it, guys. Don't
We
do
will
it.
have words after the show, good sir.
I love it. Everyone in our chat right now has moved on to a conversation about characters that they would like to see on the show.
RC.
Yeah,
I want to see
everybody's
RC.
in agree with RC.
Well, guys, the comics, there's a parallel storyline going on in the comics. I don't know a whole lot about it. I've only read the issue that was
the
at
free
Free Comic Book Day
one, yeah.
But if you're looking for RC, Ultra Magnus, and Bulkhead, that's
They're
where
in
to
it.
go. And they had a variant cover the other day that had, it was like a family
It's so
photo from
beautiful.
Prime. So
beautiful.
definitely check out the comics, because that is a thing that is happening.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be filling in, I'm speculating here, but I think it's going to be filling in some of the gaps in terms of what are these characters doing.
Yeah.
So I hope it's canon.
Totally.
I believe it's canon, but you never know with these things.
And before we move on to talking about Optimus Prime's life or lack thereof, we're not really sure in this episode, I would like to say that I agree with everybody who says they want to see Sunstreaker and Alita 1.
Nice.
Alita 1, yes. Well, I know for a fact we're getting Windblade at some point, and
I know.
that is
Woohoo.
spectacular.
Yes.
Yes. I personally would like to see Alita 1 as well. I think she was one of the ones that I requested. Our very first episode.
I want to see her and her whole lady crew.
That they had an awesome lady crew.
Yeah, they had such an interesting storyline too, and they were like the underground like saviors
and Chromia and Moonracer.
Yes, Moonracer.
It was great.
Yeah, no, that would be amazing. Anywho, let's move on to Optimus's storyline.
Yes,
because there are so many questions as to, because we've been speculating what is going on in the realm of the Primes. Is this is Optimus really dead? Because for all intents and purposes, he died at the end of Transformers Prime in the wrap-up film.
I thought so.
He died to help Cybertron.
Yeah, I'm a little confused.
So
it's always unclear, especially in the American translations and the dubs of Dragon Ball Z, whether or not Goku is dead. And I think we just have to
the
deal.
answer was yes. He went to hell for an episode.
I'm sorry, he went to another dimension.
He went to another dimension, and he went to the. For those of you who haven't watched Dragon Ball Z, the old edited version that they showed us on Cartoon Network, he went to the HFIL, which stands for the Home for Infinite Losers. Because, first of all, you couldn't say that he was dead. He was in another dimension. And in that dimension, he fell into the Home for Infinite Losers.
Yeah, I was like, oh dear God.
Which, I don't know about you guys, that version of hell looked really nice. There were fountains. There was, activities.
So nice.
A workout area. It looked really great.
It looked like a country club.
Yeah. I think there were souls that went camping all the time and stuff. Yeah. It really didn't look that bad.
It also just kind of looked like, not to be thrown off and throw more nerdy things in there, but you know how the spirit world is for Avatar?
Yeah, it did kind of look like
I was like,
that.
where am I going to see Aang just kind of hanging around?
And just weird bunny spirits.
Yeah. Just kind of floating around.
That's all I want.
Anyway, so we have Optimus in the realm of the Primes, and he's there with Micronus, who is a Prime, who I went to the Transformers wiki. He was originally a Minicon, the very first incarnation of
hence
Micronus.
I thought it was my Kronos, my god of time. That's not what it was.
Which, I mean, both work.
I was thinking the same thing, Emma, actually.
Okay.
Well, it works because he's got his legs crossed and he's just floating around, hanging out. But originally, Micronus was a Minicon that was meant to, add power to the other Primes. And so it's very interesting to see him autonomously here. And he's actually voiced by Adrian Pastar. Pastar, if I said that correctly, who played Nathan Petrelli in Heroes and General Talbot in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
That's right.
So,
I forgot about that.
So I was looking at the credits. I was like, who voiced Micronus? And sure enough, I was like, Nathan Petrelli?
Yeah, man.
So I was like, that explains why he's flying around this entire episode.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So basically, what Micronus is doing is, hence our Dragon Ball Z parallels, he is training Optimus for some great calamity that is going to befall Earth.
No.
And on the one hand, I'm like, okay, he's going through a training bit. They clearly have a task for him. On the other hand, I'm like, what on earth could be coming to Earth right now? Because yes, we have our Decepticon prisoners.
Yeah,
but
I don't think that's what Micronus is talking about.
I don't think so either, because they're disorganized. Some of them are crazy, and
most of them are crazy.
Yeah, and they still we know that they're building and working together and ultimately building towards something.
Right.
But I don't think it would be anything big enough to send a Prime back from the dead, because again, even though it's Optimus and we know that he has to die once a series and then be resurrected, we get it. It's a pattern for him.
Yeah.
Death is nothing new. Yeah. Death and resurrection is nothing new for Optimus Prime.
Not very permanent for Optimus Prime.
Yeah, no, it's kind of whew, had a little power nap there, and now I'm ready to go again. But
I love it.
So we know that's not really a big thing in terms of needing to resurrect him, because that's nothing new for the show. But what could be so important? What could be happening or heading towards Earth that is so disastrous that it's not somebody else bringing Optimus back from the dead? It's literally they're Gandalf the Grey coming back as Gandalf the White.
Yeah.
And again, more with the nerdy
That would be
references.
awesome.
That's great. I feel that's exactly what's happening. I'm not sure why, but I'm excited.
Yeah, and so it just makes me wonder what is happening. What is coming down the way that would require the assistance of a prime?
I mean, this could have something to do with the state of life on Cybertron, which, as we have speculated many, many times on this show, is not great. It's not so good. It's pretty harsh dictatorship.
The from what we hear, it's pretty authoritarian.
Yeah.
And but anyway, so we have Micronus here floating around, which I kind of liked his design. It was really sleek.
Yeah, I liked his design too. I'm trying to scroll back up and see who said they were underwhelmed by him on screen, because apparently in the art book Bible,
in the Covenant of Prime. Primus.
He apparently looks really cool.
I've seen one or two pictures, and it does look very cool, but they're also balls of light and things like that.
Yeah.
They are very ethereal, but for this, it's something a little bit more tangible, hey, we're in a training session. Because although I will say, when Optimus nearly died in Prime, and he met Alpha Trion, I believe it was.
Yes.
That's kind of what I got, because it was very ethereal, very light.
Absolutely.
So you would think that an appearance from a prime, from the realm of primes, would look kind of similar to that.
I would agree.
But at the same time, it's okay, no, but I understand
he was like a little King Kai. He was floating around. He was vaguely blue.
He was kind of a King Kai.
I liked him.
Short, blue.
Yeah.
It worked. But yeah, so I get kind of being disappointed that he's not ethereal. I get it, but at the same time, they are on a specific mission doing a specific thing.
I just have to tell you what DBZ King 02 said in the chat, because everybody's going on about what's coming to the Earth that's so terrible, and DBZ King 02 writes, spoilers, it's Michael Bay.
I thought he was going to make a joke about the Saiyans are coming to Earth.
Nope, even better.
That joke did not go where I expected it to.
I like you, DBZ King 02. You're all right.
That's it. The primes know that Michael Bay is set to make way more Transformers movies than was ever intended, and they're sending Optimus down to stop it, to put a stop to it. But basically, the challenge that he's set forth is that Optimus has a Decepticon Hunter sword, and in order to activate its full potential, he has to go through this kind of training exercise. And in order to do so, he has to get to the top of the hill.
And that is his goal, is get to the top of the hill. And basically, Micronus tells him, okay, here's all you have to do. Get to the top of that hill. And then all of a sudden, all of these Decepticons start coming out of nowhere.
It's a Decepticon with 4 mini-cons attached to it. And then there's a group of random people
Humans
that have been grabbed from Earth, it seems, and transported to the realm of the primes. And Optimus is furious.
Yeah.
He's like,
how dare you?
Yeah, how dare you? Why have you done this?
Yeah, basically saying that no training is so important that you should endanger human lives. And basically he's like, these are helpless humans. And Micronus is like, whatever, they got you.
Yeah, it's like, well, you better get the job done then.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not up to me. That's up to you now, isn't it? And so Optimus is distracted because he has an attack from a giant Decepticon and 4 mini-cons.
Crazy mini-cons.
Which kind of reminded me of the robots from episode 1.
Yeah,
where
did.
They would roll out and then they come out and they're shooting little things. I actually liked those from episode 1.
I liked those a lot.
So they reminded me a lot of those, but I felt so bad for Optimus because the one thing he really truly cares about is protecting human lives. And
I agree. And I mean, just good on Micronus for playing at his heartstrings. I mean,
exactly.
He knew exactly what was going to happen.
He knew exactly how to steer Optimus Prime off course from his mission.
Yeah.
And guess what? The Decepticons know how to do that too. You
Yeah.
put human lives in danger, Optimus Prime is going to make that his top priority, regardless of what the mission is.
Yep.
And sure enough, it acts as very much of a distraction. And I gotta say, I did like the parallel of him jumping in front of the humans to save them from being shot.
I liked that
and then
too.
Grimlock jumping in front of his friends to prevent. I was like, oh, that's a nice parallel.
I really enjoyed all of the parallels when they went back and forth between between, because B had a similar sword
Yeah.
to the one that that Optimus Prime had.
Go on.
I'm looking at Lord Megatron over here, and I just can't get Megatron off the brain.
Don't you forget it.
That Optimus Prime had. So I really did like when they were going back and forth, though ultimately I think that B, it was about the distractions for his teammates, and
Yeah.
I didn't really think B himself was getting distracted so much as he was getting frustrated.
Yeah.
Whereas with Optimus, it was very clearly a horrible distraction, and it was just killing him because the Decepticons evaporated the humans.
Yeah, and you could just see the look on his face too
Yeah.
when it happened, because he's like, you have to stop this. The second somebody died, he was like, you have to stop this. You need to help me.
Yeah.
Like, I can't afford to let any of these other people get killed. And sure enough, they all get wiped out. And yeah, from Optimus's point of view, they look like they're straight up disintegrated.
I know.
And although I will say that the second somebody died, I was like, okay, they're not real people. It's okay.
See, I wasn't so sure. I mean, granted, this show is not Prime, but I think because of Prime, I was like, oh, they're starting to go there. This is getting serious.
I did like that they grabbed a random group of people, and it was a very diverse group of people.
It was
wasn't
a really
just
diverse group of people.
I really appreciated that. I was like, thank you, my Cronus. But there's only one kid left, and of course Optimus is like, you have to interfere. We can't let this child die. And my Cronus is basically like, you've taken your eye off the ball.
Yeah, what
was your
what were you
point?
supposed to do? What were you supposed to do here, Optimus? Just think back. And he's like, climb the hill. Yeah, and of course he goes up to the top of, it's really a dome more than a hill. It's not exactly a hill with like grass and flowers and trees.
No, and yeah, it looks like it would have been, personally I think it would have been really hard and slippery to climb, because that's
I agree,
the way
but
domes are.
hey, Optimus had no problem with it whatsoever. So he like scales the side of it and basically finds a dais that's the same shape and size as the sword, from which he can draw power to shoot crazy lightning bolts.
To unlock the potential of the sword.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, it was kind of very King Arthur a little bit more. I know they kind of tried to do that in Age of Extinction. And I feel like they did it here a little bit better. With all the swords and the knights and everything like that. And it's like, good try, guys. Try a little harder next time.
This was very effective for me. I really, really liked it. And as I say, I mean, even though, yes, those were not real people. They did not actually die. They were holograms that just got erased. You didn't know that for sure until the end of the episode.
That's very true. My Cronus didn't say anything one way or another. And so, yeah, and actually one thing that I really appreciated when I was looking up my Cronus was that sometimes he can be a little bit of a jerk. Mm-hmm. That was literally a description in the wiki, was sometimes he can be a little bit of a something I shouldn't say.
I love it.
And I was like, you know what? That actually sounds a lot like the way he was portrayed in this episode.
Yeah.
And so, like, I really appreciated that. But Optimus basically, the long and the short of this lesson was, you're going to fight. These are going to be the obstacles that you are going to come across when we send you to Earth, because there are going to be Decepticons. There are going to be human lives that are endangered, and you essentially can't necessarily allow that to let you lose focus of what you need to do, because what you need to do is way more important than that collateral damage, I guess. What's wrong?
Oh, our dear friend Jack Skellington on Twitter has created another fabulous
Oh my gosh, is that Mark Wahlberg? And okay.
Yep.
Thank you, Jack Skellington.
We will all retweet this. You need this in your lives.
And for those of you listening to the podcast, Jack Skellington on Twitter created a picture of the Saiyans coming to Earth. And Michael Bay's face is photoshopped over Nappa, and Mark Wahlberg's face is photoshopped over Vegeto's. And
actually, it's vice versa.
It's vice versa?
Yeah, it's vice versa.
No,
yeah.
Nappa's the big one.
Yeah, in the background there. This is Vegeta hair going on behind Michael Bay.
Wahlberg. Yeah.
Okay, I assumed they were at the same
Mark
place.
Mark
Wahlberg's in the back.
Yes. Okay, I assumed it was in the same place. I apologize.
It's amazing.
Perspective on a 2D image. I apologize.
Yeah, it's fine.
But basically, you need this in your life. You need to see it. It is wonderful.
I'm retweeting it right now.
Share it with the world.
Follow at Emma Fyffe and you will see it.
Share it with the world because it's pretty wonderful.
It's amazing.
Anyway, I will say that I find it a little bit odd that Optimus, of all people, needs training. Granted, I'm sure the Primes, because this is somebody who had the collective wisdom of the Primes with him for so long.
Accurate.
And he fought a war. He died for a war.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering a little bit about why they feel the need to train him. But then again, the Primes seem kind of like jerks. Anyway.
Yeah, they do seem kind of like jerks.
They monitor his collect call.
I mean, how many times, we're going back to Dragon Ball Z, how many times did Goku become like ultimate Saiyan and still had to train more?
That's true.
You know?
This was a very Dragon Ball Z episode.
It was a very Dragon Ball Z episode.
It really was, but it's interesting because, again, if they felt the need to train Optimus of all bots, it makes me wonder what on earth is coming.
Well, it's
that they
obviously,
even felt that Optimus wasn't prepared.
To me, it's obviously some major threat to humans because they know how much Optimus cares about human beings.
Yeah, and it's not just that, and I know Unicron is pretty dead. He's pretty dead. And by dead, I mean kind of like locked away forever.
Yeah.
You know, one of those things like parallax, that sort of thing. But the two planets, Earth and Cybertron, are still linked. I'm sure that's one of the reasons why travel between the two of them has been outlawed. Mm-hmm. And so, again, the fate of the two planets are intertwined. So anything bad befalling Earth ultimately means disaster on Cybertron as well. And I know Cybertron doesn't like to acknowledge that, but that is a thing.
Yeah.
And so it's not just Earth, because I feel like if it was just Earth, it wouldn't be as bad. But this is Earth and Cybertron at stake. So I don't know what's coming. I don't know what's worse than Unicron, apart from the Quintessians, which I don't think we're going that route. But
who knows?
But I highly doubt it's Unicron. So that it just makes me wonder. Okay, what else?
Yeah.
What else could be coming for Earth?
I'm getting a lot of Megatronus in the chat roll here.
Megatronus. Who knows? All right. Well, do we want to go into predictions?
I think we sort of covered that.
We just kind of talked about it a little bit. Any direct? Woo!
And now,
Yay,
your
the light show.
AFTERBUZZ TV prediction.
Well, now I gotta say, Michael Bay is coming. Everybody watch out. He's bringing Marky Mark with him. Shia can't be far behind.
They finally have a couple women working on scripts for
for
upcoming Transformers movies. Hopefully that means that we'll get, I know RC's gone, unfortunately, but maybe that means we'll get Alita 1 in some capacity, or even Windblade, because she's a fan favorite. Alexis, do you have any predictions?
Not really, actually, because, sorry, I'm slowly coming over to the camera. I'm just really excited because I just really want to see more Optimus. That's mainly
I agree.
And I'm very excited to see, I don't know if it's actually going to stick, but, I would like to see Bumblebee, even though I know he's been really frustrated in this episode, to really hone into the, I guess, dad skills. And really just take the reins on this one. I feel like I say this every episode, but it's just been in that whole, we've been in the filler. Now we're really getting, especially since I kind of saw the next episode. That I really like that we're
that's right. I forgot.
It's been out in China for a while.
Yeah, I know. So the fact that just which a lot of people in the chat have also seen by accident, but it's just going to be really awesome to see more Decepticons and kind of the story playing out kind of thing.
Yeah. We have a comment on Twitter from Erica. Maybe the prison crash was deliberate. Quote unquote, good guys on Cybertron going to take over Earth.
I saw that.
Ooh, I like that. I think that's a very interesting thought. I like that. I appreciate that.
I think Cybertron's shady, so.
Fair enough. I think, and I know I've been saying this for quite a while, but I think we're finally going to get it on our next episode. I think we're finally going to get our Team Steeljaw team up. I think that's what's coming next.
I hope so.
Because I can't get enough of that team, and I can't wait to see how the Decepticons play off of each other. I need it in my life, basically. So I think that basically wraps it up for this week's episode. Do you guys have any other comments? Anything else you want to add about this week's episode?
No.
Just need more B doing a dad voice.
Yep,
I
same
liked
here.
it. I was into it.
I like Dad B. I like authoritarian. I'm putting my foot down.
Yeah.
B. I gotta say, I want to see a little bit more of the realm of primes because this is the first time we've actually seen it.
It was cool.
So I want to see more of the primes. I want to see Solus Prime. The female, the only female prime. So
Yes.
I would love to see that, and maybe more training for Optimus and things like that.
Yeah.
Because clearly something's going on. All right, guys, that basically wraps it up for our show. Don't forget, we are extending our contest by one more week. You have the opportunity to win this lovely, wonderful Optimus Prime action figure. It is fantastic. You have to follow all of us on Twitter, including AfterBuzz TV, and we will throw out our Twitter handles momentarily. And you also need to leave a review on iTunes, and please remember to leave your Twitter handle in the review on iTunes.
Yes.
And for those of you who've already done so, just tweet at us directly, and we will count it as an entry.
Yes.
So don't worry about that. Alexis, where can people go if they want to find out more about you?
You can find me all over the interwebs as ATorres890. Follow me if you want to see my face or listen to my voice at Geek Nerd Tech on Black Hollywood Live, our sister network. We would really appreciate it. They also have awesome shows as well. And also follow me on my vlogs also at atorres890 at youtube.com.
And you can find me all over the internet at Emma Fyffe. That's my Twitter handle. That's where you'll find me on Instagram. There's an Emma Fyffe Facebook entertainer page, which you can like, and we can interact there. I have been with some fans. It's been awesome. Also, you can see me on some other shows here at AfterBuzzTV.com, as well as on The Cosplay Coach on our other sister network, The Popcorn Talk. That is on Wednesdays at 4 o'clock p.m. right here in this very studio. So be sure to tune into that as well. We are doing our countdown to Comic-Con right now.
Ooh.
So we're teaching you how to make superhero costumes and popular anime costumes and alternative Disney princesses. It's going to be super awesome. And speaking of cons, if any of you guys are going to be at Amazing Las Vegas Comic-Con the next weekend, so that's June 19th through the 21st at the South Point Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada, I will be there. I'm going to be on a bunch of panels. I'm going to be moderating some panels, and I'll tweet out my whole schedule. So if you're there, come find me.
It sounds like it's going to be a blast.
It is. It's going to be really cool. I'm very excited. I'm on some really neat panels.
That's what I've heard. I wish I could make it. And you can follow our head panel leader, who is sadly not here today, Ki at Kiaxet. That's Kiaxet. And you can follow me on Twitter at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin. I'm also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz, including Sailor Moon Crystal and Orphan Black, which is tomorrow night. And I've also started writing an article for the Movie Chicks. That's Chick with 2 Ks. Be sure to check those out. And we've actually started partnering with Popcorn Talk to bring you Movie Chick quick reviews. So be sure to check those out. We've got one up for Insidious 3, and we'll have another one up for you guys tomorrow night. Again, thank you guys so much for participating. Everybody in the hashtag, everybody in the live chat, we really appreciate it. We will see you all next week.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Transform and roll out!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.